Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Another day here, gonna do some math with you. Um, some of you guys didn't do too well on your quiz. Some of you guys did really great on your quiz. A lot of different scores. We got, from 20% to over 100%. I gave everybody one extra free point. But if you didn't do too well, you need to redo this. You need to watch this video well. The test is going to be very similar on the redo, just a little bit different with some of the questions. Anyhow, hope this helps. And please ask me more questions. Some of you guys are really struggling or not trying, or I don't know. I don't hear from you guys. I don't see you guys. You are like in your own little world now. So you need to come out and speak up. And this is gonna hurt your grade unless you get your act together here. Some of you, but some of you guys are doing great. Just keep up the good work. And here we go. All right. So this first question on your test, we had to pick what graph is shaded here. And, well, first, we're at -7. You see all the answers have -7. All right. Now, if we're going to the left, that is less than. Okay, so this is less than or equal to. So how do you decide less than or equal to? Well, notice this dot. That's how you decide. This dot is shaded in. Okay, so if it's shaded in, it means it's including -7. Okay, so if it's including -7, that means that this is less than or equal to. Okay, so this is the symbol you want to use, less than or equal to -7 here. If it's not shaded in and it looks like a hole here, okay, if it's a hole there and it's pointing this way, this is just a less than problem. Okay, so that's about it for that one. All right, a lot of you guys missed this one here. This one is one where you have to solve and then pick the right answer here. Okay, so notice in this one, x is on the right side, but in my answers, x is on the left side. Okay, that matters. That's very important to recognize this. Okay, so this one here, if you're going to solve it, you could flip it around first if you want and rewrite the problem as x minus 4 is greater than -11. When you move the variable from the right side to the left side like this, you have to change the direction of the inequality. Okay, then you could solve this. All right. Or what you could do is just go ahead and solve it how it is. Okay, you want to undo -4 by adding 4. Okay, -11 plus 4 is equal to negative. You have more negative, so your answer is negative. And then the signs are different, so you're subtracting. So it's -7 is less than x. Okay, now don't pick this answer right here because this is saying x is less than -7. These two things are not the same, okay? X, the answer has to be less than -7. This is saying -7 is less than the answer, okay? So in other words, this means that x is greater than -7 if you rewrite it, okay? Or if you go ahead and solve it this way, you'll realize that, hey, that's the answer as well. So there you go. All right, so be careful when the variable's on the right. You could rewrite it to the variables on the left, and notice all the answers have the variable on the left. All right, next one here. Okay, so this one here, we are trying to solve this one and pick the right answer. So we're dividing to get rid of the 5. It's multiplied by k, so we're trying to divide 5 away, okay, because we want to get 1k left. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we have 1k, and the question here that might be a little bit tricky is, do I flip my inequality sign? Now, remember, you flip if you are dividing both sides by a negative, okay? But look, you're dividing this side by a +5 underneath and a +5, so you're not dividing both sides by a negative. So in this one, you're not flipping, okay? All right, be careful with your signs there. Okay, in this particular one, you're trying to get the variable by itself. It's division. So in order to undo division, you need to multiply both sides by the number that's with it. So you're multiplying both sides by a -3. Okay, now when you multiply both sides by a negative, it's the same thing as if you're dividing both sides by a negative. and this one you need to flip your inequality sign. All right, so that's the answer. It's now m is less than negative 30. It started out as greater than 10. All right, next one here, number 8. Okay, solve the inequality. So you want to get the variable by itself here. All right, so let's go ahead and try to tackle this one. There's fractions in it. Don't be too scared of the fractions. All right, they're just numbers too. They aren't gonna hurt you. Okay, the fractions are your friends. All right, so anyhow, we need to undo subtraction with addition. All right, we're going to add 2/3 to both sides. All right, now notice I could have done this at the beginning. When you have two fractions and they don't have the same denominator, you need to make sure they have like denominators. So I'm going to change 2/3 and the common denominator with 3 and 6. Okay, the smallest number you could use is 6. So 2/3 is going to become 4/6. All right, so I'm going to add 5/6 and 4/6 together. That's equal to 9/6. All right, so we have 3/4 x is less than or equal to 9/6. Now, when you have a fraction times a variable, you need to cancel out the fraction. You can divide by that fraction, but dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay, so you can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of that fraction to cancel out the fraction that's connected by multiplication. All right, and then everything will reduce nicely. There's no need to flip this one around. X is less than or equal to 2. And you can actually see this in the graph here, okay? You didn't really need to solve this. X is less than or equal to 2. You know, it's darkened dot again, so you're going to be using less than or equal to because you're including the 2. All right, next one here. A little word problem. Xavier needs to collect at least, that tells you what inequality to use, 120 cans. Okay, at least doesn't mean less than. At least means you need to be greater than a certain number, okay? Or it could be equal to that number, okay? At least means greater than or equal to 120. So, if you figure out that part, you have essentially figured out the answer, okay? And so, I mean, the rest of it, okay, he has already collected 64. How many more does he need to collect? So you're adding together his cans. X plus 64 is greater than or equal to 120. All right, that's it for that one. Let's, go to this one. This is everybody's favorite problem, okay? This isn't meant to be a hard problem. It just kind of is like, do you really understand what an inequality is, okay? It's not, you're not finding one answer that makes this true. You're finding a range of answers that make this true. So there's multiple possibilities that would work for P here. You have to figure out which ones will work for P. All right, so there's a couple ways you could do this, but you know, one way you could do it is just plug your numbers in and see if it's true. So plug 0 in. 10 times 0 is 0. Okay, so minus 8 is negative 8 greater than 12. Okay, so that's obviously not true. Then you could do this again, put 1 in, okay? So 10 times 1 is 10, minus 8 is 2. Is 2 greater than 12? No, that is also not true. All right, now let's go with plugging 2 in now, okay? So we plug 2 in, we get 10 times 2 is 20. Minus 8 is 12. Is 12 greater than 12? So, do you know what an inequality is? That is the question. Some of you don't. Okay, you need to think about that. Is 12, the number 12, greater than the number 12? 12 is not greater than 12, okay? So that answer is no as well. All right, but if you put 3 in, you get 22, and 22 is greater than 12. So that one's yes. Okay. The other way you could do this is just solve this inequality. It's a two-stepper. Okay. So you would add 8 to both sides, and you get 20. So 10p is greater than 20, which means p is greater than 2. Now, if p is greater than 2, can p be 2? No. Okay, so hopefully you understand why C is not right now. All right. So this one here, what mistake did she do? Well, remember you're subtracting 50, then there's a negative sign here. It's negative 8t, so you'd have to divide by negative 8. And since you're dividing both sides by negative 8, the mistake she made was she forgot to flip it. All right, the last question here. Type in the blank your starting inequality. Some of you guys did not type your starting inequality. You just typed in your final solution. So you want to make sure to type in your inequality you're starting with. All right. So it costs $12.50 to enter an amusement park and $1.50 to pay for each game. Okay. So this is just like you're adding up the costs. Write and solve an inequality to represent the number of games. Okay. So we don't know how many games, so we're using a variable. He has $35 to spend at the park. So he has $35 to spend at the park, which means all his money can't be more than $35. It could be less than 35, it could be less than or equal to 35. Okay, so your inequality is his costs, $12.50 to enter, plus $1.50 for each game. Remember, each means multiply. Okay, it must be less than or equal to 35. So you just solve this and subtract $12.50, then divide by $1.50. You don't need to flip this one around because you're not dividing by a negative or anything. And that is your answer for that one. Okay. So I hope this video helped. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. Some of you guys are just being bumps on the log. You need to speak up, ask me for help. Come on, you guys can do this. We only got like a month more of school. Just hang in there. You'll be fine. All right. Take care now. See you later. Bye-bye.